This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker!
Movies with Ron!
Hey, so, the city of Houston banned wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men.
What? Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men?
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men.
Can't believe that.
Why?
They said it was a blight on the city's visuals.
Oh my god. Well, it is.
This was like years ago, so someone back then was smart.
Not to my visuals. Every time I see one of them, I gotta stop.
Yeah, see? It works.
We got a lot of listeners in Europe. Wonder if they have those over there. And do Europeans even know about Texas? Like, do they think it's a bunch of cowboys?
Isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of cowboys there. But Texas is like its own country.
Yeah.
In the States. Big conservative section, but also it has its liberal parts. It's fast and loose. And here's the best way to describe Texas. In the state's laws, it says, if you find that Bigfoot exists, you're allowed to kill him.
Why don't we live in Texas?
Welcome to episode 51 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother surprises me with a movie he saw because I don't go see him anymore, and he explains the whole thing to me from beginning to end. Keep listening and you'll end up liking his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique, so let's do this. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Here with me, our sound guy, Rick.
What's going on, everybody?
And the one you've been waiting for.
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's Ron. Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, boys. How's it going?
Welcome back.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back.
Had some good time off.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice.
Rick got a chance to kick Alien Covenant's ass.
Yeah, man.
What'd you think? We wanted to make you happy.
Guys, I loved it. I think
Good.
you guys did amazing. Rick, beautiful recap. Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was cool being able to hear an episode of the show without seeing a movie. You know, because that's an experience I don't get. So it was really cool.
Well, it was equally interesting being in your shoes, sir.
I bet. And Chris, great job with them samples, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, I had fun.
they were dead on. And you know what? That movie is Aliens. And you guys proved it. Yeah, it looks like I'm out of a job.
Don't you mean extinct?
Oh, that was good.
Hey, Ron, did you notice Rick made a Guyana grape reference?
Yes. All right, so it's a thing.
You taught him well.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, when I heard it, I looked up.
Jesus Christ, what a mess.
Hey, all right. I don't play video games anymore, but I got an idea for one. If they made it, I'd play it. I grew up in the 90s, where every time a blockbuster came out, the following week they'd have a fucking video game of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And it was like, it became a joke
Right.
in that culture. It was very commercialized, and nobody embraced it. Probably the only good one was 007.
Yeah.
Yeah, GoldenEye.
But I want Rockstar Games to use that engine of the Grand Theft Auto, open world, taking missions from people, drive anywhere, do anything. And I want Ace Ventura.
Ooh.
And I want to look for animals and shit.
Oh my God, man, that's perfect.
And you're taking cases in the city.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the case might run out. You might run out of time. There's challenges and shit.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura. Get Jim Carrey to do all that voice work.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I'm ready again.
Hey, we got a tweet from Alan Rundle.
All right.
He says, "Hi, gang. Thanks for crushing my phone question. I play that clip to so many people now that everyone hates me." Sorry, Alan. And thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Everybody follow Alan Rundle on Twitter at Del Bucko.
Glad we could be of service. Oh, and we killed that closing doors thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Good Lord.
The biggest closing of doors event in movie history.
I couldn't believe that happened.
That was a question from Sal Roma on Twitter.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Sal.
All right. We got a problem.
Oh, shit.
I have a solution.
We fight.
The problem is the Joker in these fucking DC movies.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sucks.
No one likes Jared
Yeah.
Leto.
Oh, yeah.
Is dumb.
Yeah.
And it's awkward because of Heath Ledger.
Right.
Okay? Can't defeat that awkwardness. Oh, turns out you can.
All right. What's going on?
The only guy. Get rid of Jared Leto.
Uh-huh.
All right? Get rid of the gangster thing.
Yes.
Let's try and be more like the comic. The classic Joker.
Uh-huh.
Only one man can do that job after Heath Ledger. And that man is Christian Bale.
Oh, my God.
No guy can play the Joker better now than Christian Bale. Come on.
Oh, yeah. No, I hear you.
That would be cool. They
Like
need to do that.
There's evidence of that in, like, American Psycho.
Oh, totally.
I love it. I think it's a great idea.
I'm down.
All right, I got a thing from Variety magazine.
Yes.
They say, all right. We know who Kirk Douglas is. Classic actor.
Of
He
course.
was in Spartacus.
Yeah. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
My
Famous.
favorite.
There was Mermaid Minnie.
Famous chin-dimpled actor.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Douglas's father. Do we know who Stanley Kubrick is for people listening? Young people?
Clockwork Orange, The Shining, 2001.
Yeah.
Directed all those movies.
Really prolific filmmaker. And we've kind of over-iconicized him. Is that the right word?
I think we've iconicized him just enough.
Yeah, but Stanley Kubrick and Kirk Douglas making Spartacus got in severe, vicious fights.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the thing is Kubrick didn't have all those classics under his belt.
Yeah.
Kirk Douglas was a leading man and also the executive producer. He was like, I'm going to be in charge of how I look.
Yeah.
Being an awesome dude in movies. He was Stanley Kubrick's boss.
Being in an awesome dude.
I do not want to touch his ass.
No, but the arguments were so bad, Douglas's wife made both of them go see a therapist together.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. All right. So the movie ended up being made. It was famous.
Yeah.
Successful. These are Douglas's words.
Okay.
The therapist recommended he and Kubrick read the novel Trom Nouvelle,
Yeah.
which is called Dream Story. I don't know. And then Kubrick, later on, made it into a movie called Eyes Wide Shut.
No shit.
Yeah. And then, famously, Kubrick showed it to WB executives. Then he had a massive heart attack. God bless him. Rest in peace.
Oh,
Kubrick is gone. Kirk Douglas fucking killed Stanley Kubrick, goddammit. That's the conspiracy theory we're missing. That's the answer.
I'm on Kirk Douglas's side.
He was like, he did a shitty version of that classic story. We shared that moment and he ruined it.
Wow, Chris.
He killed him and he put him in a bag and he was like dragging him out of a hotel like in American Psycho. Kirk Douglas is like at that time like 85.
Yeah, but he's like still a badass, so he's like dragging it with his teeth.
Some guy stops him in the hallway like, oh, I love your bag.
Yeah, thanks.
Consider that a divorce.
Okay, real quick. Adam Sandler is going to win the Oscar for Best Actor. He's in a movie called The Meyerowitz Stories
Yeah.
by Noah Baumbach. And he did really good.
Did he?
Yeah.
So what is that?
I don't know. It's about like divorce or some shit.
Okay.
Did really good in Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, he did.
A vulnerable man who breaks sliding glass doors. The funniest part of that movie is when he's showing his
Yes.
plungers to the customers,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "Look, it can totally withstand a full-on hit," and he hits it, and it just shatters into fucking pieces. And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna fix this."
No, he's like, no, these are the old ones. Can we get one of the new ones in here, please?
All right, again, real quick, watch Jurassic Park when they go into the headquarters, the big building, big gray building.
The visitor center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going up the staircase, and Hammond is like, oh, there's no rides here. No rides like that. Living biological attractions, you know. Not 3 minutes later, they're sitting in that moving theater, and they're like trying to get up, and he's like, it's kind of a ride.
Yeah. And also Gennaro was like, are these characters autoerotic?
Is that what he said?
I think so.
All right, Ron, what'd you go see?
I went to go see Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
All right.
Yeah. Damn right.
Got some Javier Bardem.
Yeah, he talks pretty weird in this movie, man.
I can't understand him in the trailers.
It's so weird. He's kind of talking like he's underwater, but he's also Spanish.
Yeah.
Bottle. It's bottle.
The second Pirates movie,
Yeah.
it's like just as good as Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah.
It's even got that perfect ending. You're thinking they can't carry Jack Sparrow through all these movies,
Yep.
Maybe he got eaten by the Kraken.
Yeah. Got to take him away for a little while.
It's like, I don't want to be stuck with Legolas. And you're like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And fucking Jeffrey Rush shows up.
I know.
The bad guy from the first movie.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, I'm going to help out.
Yeah.
And it's Jeffrey Rush, who has kind of like existed throughout all these movies
Yeah.
in some way.
He needs to drive for a while.
But being a kid, I was like, I trust you, Jeffrey Rush, until this third movie comes out. I thank you.
Yeah.
I was totally at peace. I don't know, man. The way they wove the characters around. Pirates movies have always been pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And those last two sequels, they are pretty good movies in their own right. But what they're missing is that the epic of those stories begins and ends in the same movie. So, of course, they don't feel as grandiose,
Yeah.
Yeah, like in that last one, On Stranger Tides, Ian McShane as Blackbeard, I thought he was a really cool bad guy with like a cool mythology.
Yeah.
But I might just love Ian McShane. I don't know.
It's hard not to.
I know, right?
Avast, me hearties. Grab your pirate hats and shiver your timbers. Don't worry about the rum, 'cause it's always gone. Get ready for Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales on Movies with Ron.
It's showtime.
Yeah. All right, everybody, get the people out.
Get the people out. Come on, get the people out.
Good times.
All right, so I had to see this movie in 3D, and it didn't matter for shit. Okay, so there's only two logos, but they're big ones. All right, Disney and Jerry Bruckheimer, okay? So then we see somebody's wall, and it's covered in drawings, all right? And one of them is a drawing of Poseidon with his trident. And then there's some sort of, like a list on the wall that says, Father's Curse. So you know that it's Will Turner's son. And what he's doing is keeping track of when he's allowed to see his dad. It's like, what, every 10 years for like 10 minutes? I don't know, something like that. But then we see the kid, and he's like, maybe 10 years old. Then he gets in a rowboat, and he goes out to the middle of the ocean. Because he still lives on that island with his mom. But it's nighttime, and he rows out to the middle, and then he ties a rope around his ankle and throws a big bag of rocks overboard, and he is killing himself. That's right. So once the rope runs out, well, he flies down, and he is sinking down into the black. Okay? And then up comes the Flying Dutchman, baby, and it just catches him right on its deck.
Sweet.
Okay? And then it surfaces like real hard, real hard and fast and loose. But there's nobody around. So the kid's like looking around like, oh, man. And then you hear some footsteps. Dong, dong, dong. He's like, Father, Father. Then fucking Orlando Bloom walks out. No longer the spring chicken from the pirate movies. But he's also covered in barnacles.
Yeah.
Which does not make sense to me.
He's got the curse?
Yeah, he's got the Davy Jones curse, right? He took Davy Jones' place.
Okay.
But I took it from the movies that they all look all fucked up and weird because they stopped doing their job, which is ferrying dead souls to the locker, you know? They went rogue.
Oh, okay.
But he's growing barnacles on his face, I guess. You know, it's fine. And he's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I wanted to see you, Dad. And I was like, oh, man, good plan. You know? If there's one life Davy Bloom is going to save, you know, it's his son's, right?
Yeah.
Anytime he wants to see his dad, he just tries to kill himself. You can see your dad every day.
Yeah.
Anyway, Davy Bloom is like, dude, the others can hear you. They know you're here, all right? You have got to get out of here quick. And the kid's like, wait, Dad, I found a way to break your curse. Totally. I've been doing a whole bunch of research, you know, even though I'm a 10-year-old kid. And I found out that Poseidon's trident, all right, it will break any curse of the sea. And he's like, the trident has never been found. It can't be found. So, you know, fuck it.
Does he have like a beard and stuff?
He's got his little...
Does he have a tentacle beard?
No.
Oh.
He's got his little pencil mustache that he did the last time we saw him.
Yeah.
And he's just got a few barnacles on his face.
Oh.
He's like a pizza face.
You think they get barnacles on their dick?
That's probably where they grow first.
Is he the captain, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't understand why he was worried about the others hearing
Yeah,
him.
be like, it's my boy, fuckers.
Yeah.
Get back to work.
And like, why aren't they all happy? Because that's the whole reason he took over. So he could do the job,
Yeah.
you know? So he could get it done right.
Yeah.
He made the sacrifice.
Union sponsored.
Anyway, we learn the little boy's name is Henry. So Davy Bloom gives him his necklace, and he's like, that's it, man. You know what? You got to let me go. Okay? You can't be doing this shit. You got to let me go. I love you, son. Now get the hell out of here. So he throws the kid over, or the kid jumps. I don't know. Except there was one thing, and the kid was like, yeah, you know, how about you and Jack Sparrow? And Davy Bloom is like, stay away from Jack. Do not go anywhere near him.
Yeah.
So the kid goes over, and then it just shows him laying in his little rowboat.
Into the boat!
He's looking up at the sky, and he just goes, Jack Sparrow. Now we cut to 9 years later. I don't know who plays him, but he's like a 19-year-old kid now.
It's that kid from Oculus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So now he's got a job below deck on some Navy frigate, I don't know. And he's just like pumping the bilges. Yeah, so he's just like turning a big wheel with all these other assholes.
Yeah.
But he keeps leaving his station and going and sticking a mirror out of the little porthole so he can like see what's going on. And he sees that they are chasing a pirate ship. And he looks ahead of the pirate ship and he sees this familiar rock formation. It looks like, you know, a bunch of rocks, but it's like a gate made out of rocks. I don't know. He recognizes it. And he's like, oh no, tell the captain he's got to stop. So he like runs away from his post. His buddy's like, dude, you're going to get kicked off of another ship, man. He runs up and he's like, Captain, you got to stop. And everybody starts like grabbing him. Like you're not allowed to just go and talk to the captain of a Navy frigate, right? If you're just a bilge boy. So he's like, hey, you got to stop. I think you're heading for the Devil's Triangle. And all the Navy guys laugh at him like, oh, you believe in fucking fairy tales. Get him out of here. And he's like, no, you have to stop. And he like runs to go and turn the ship's wheel. So he is quickly subdued and beaten within an inch of his life.
Ah, jeez.
And accused of treason. Apparently the mark of treason back then was to grab the sleeves of your jacket and then just rip them a little. So his sleeves are almost falling off of his jacket. Then they throw him down in the brig. So they follow this ship into this big stone gate. The kid Henry is down in the brig, and out of his jacket falls a bunch of wanted posters for Jack Sparrow. And there's a dude, an old guy, in the next cell. And he sees one of them, and he's like, Jack Sparrow, he's dead. And the kid's like, what? So they follow this ship through the gates, and it gets all really super dark and foggy. Now they start passing a bunch of debris in the water, and they look down, there's like a pirate flag. It is the splinters of the ship that literally just went into that gate. And all these Navy guys are like, fuck. They look ahead of them, and there is another monster pirate ship coming at them. Okay? Another monster ship in this franchise. Okay? It's coming straight at them. Okay, and these bad guys on the ship, they like jump down off of it and start running across the water towards the Navy. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, dude. You know, this is fucked up shit. They get on, and they just start killing everybody. And then these two boots just like slam down onto the deck. Boom! And then they start walking like real slow, and they're real loud. Dong, 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 dong. And then we see that it is Javier. And they all these bad guys, they all look like kind of like zombies. Mm-hmm. But they're like charred up and burnt. Some of them, all they are is a head and a hand. It's just like floating in the air. They just have no more bodies. Yeah. Okay? So it's like they're ghosts, I guess. I don't know.
But they're like animated like they're still underwater?
Yes.
That's the
all
special
of their
thing about
clothing
them.
and their hair is moving around real slow like they are underwater, but they are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the draw of these dudes.
Some kind of curse they have.
Yeah. Some kind of curse. So he gets up into the captain's face, and the captain's like, oh, God. He's like obviously off put, okay? Because like half of Javier's head is missing. And he's like, what are you? Javier gets up in his face and he goes, death. And every time he talks, he like squirts black goo out of his mouth. So they all come down the stairs into the brig, and there are, remember, 2 prisoners. This is that big scene from the preview that everybody knows. And the evil captain, whose name is Salazar, he just walks through the bars of Henry's cell and takes out his sword, spears one of the wanted posters, picks it up, and he's like, Jack Sparrow. He like gets up in the kid's face and he's like, do you know this pirate? Do you know him? Do you know this pirate? And the kid's like, you know, I mean, like, kind of. And all the while now, the old guy in the cell next door is just like, screaming! Screaming! And then someone just kills him. And Salazar is still up in this kid's face and he's like, you don't have to fear me. I always leave one man alive to tell the tale. And then he's like, could you find this pirate for me? Could you give him a message? Tell him someday he will not have his compass, and on that day, death will come straight for him. And then he looks up at the guy and he smiles, and he just goes, could you say this to him? Please. And the kid's like, yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. Then he's like, I will tell him myself, but you see, dead men tell no tales. And then we see the title card of the movie, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and it's all pirate shit. So now it cuts to a different place, and it's daytime, and it's St. Martin. Yeah, just another port. And there is this young brunette chick, and she is on trial for witchcraft.
Oh, jeez.
So she's in a cell, and the priest is like, you know, yeah, you're a witch. You're about to die. So would you like to confess? And she's like, yes, I confess that I'm a smart girl. I confess that I'm not a witch. And all while she's like picking the lock right in front of him, but she's on the other side of it, so he can't see. And I confess that while we've been talking, I've just picked this lock. And then she, I don't know, she clubs him or something. You know, she was wrongfully imprisoned, and then, manslaughter.
That'll do it.
She gets outside, and they are dedicating a new bank in St. Martin. And the leader of St. Martin, like, I don't know, the mayor or whatever, is played by the old gyro captain from Mad Max. The girl's running away, and some guards are like, stop her, stop her. But the mayor is still talking, and he's like, yeah, the new vault. You know, look at this. And they show it, and it's just big-ass safe. Okay, it's giant. It's like 8 feet tall, 8 feet wide. No one is ever going to be able to rob St. Martin. Now, open the vault. They open it up, and it's full of like gold and silver and money and stuff, and a sleeping Jack Sparrow inside. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And then somebody goes, pirate! And then Jack Sparrow like, huh? Wakes up. And he's like, pirate? Where? And he's like, oh, me. And he's like, what? Why am I here? And he holds up a bottle of rum, and he's like, just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. And he starts chugging the rum. At that point, a big line of guards runs over, gets on their knees, and aims at him. Like there's a firing line. They're all going to kill this pirate. Right then, a woman wakes up in the vault behind him and sits up. And everybody's like, holy shit, no, stop. Hold your fire. There's a woman. And then the mayor is like, just kill that harlot. And somebody goes, but sir, that's your wife. And the gyro captain is like, Francis?
Oh, shit.
And she gets up and she's like, oh, shit. And she just runs out. She totally just fucked that dude.
There is no comfort.
And right then, Jack Sparrow's like, I've got it. I'm robbing the bank. And now we see behind the bank all of his men, like Mr. Sideburns and then Mini-Me. They've got a whole bunch of horses behind the bank, and they've got ropes going into the bank, hooking onto the back of the safe. So the plan is to drive the horses, pull the safe, and have it crash through the wall, the back wall of the bank, and then just drag it back to wherever they're going. So they start doing that. The safe slides back behind Jack Sparrow, hits the rear wall, does not crash through, and they start to drag the entire building. The safe is also still open. Okay? So the bank just leaves. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And Jack Sparrow turns around, he sees that, and he turns back to the crowd, and he's like, this wasn't part of the plan. And then he runs after it, grabs onto a rope or something, and he's just like being dragged behind the safe, okay? All of the money and the gold and everything is just falling out of it. And it starts to hit him, and he's like, starts trying to grab it. Anyway, the witch girl, whose name is Karina, we'll start calling her Karina, because later there is an actual witch. She runs into some shop where there was a giant sextant. Okay? And it turns out that this girl is an astronomer. So she's like looking at it and shit. And the guy is like, oh my god, there's a witch. You're that witch bitch. Get out of here. There's a witch in my shop. Right then, Jack Sparrow comes running in. Because, oh yeah, I guess he fell off of the safe. Comes running in. The guy's like, and a pirate. A witch and a pirate are in my shop. Jack Sparrow's like, well, then today is your lucky day. I'm sorry, I can't do Johnny Depp. I don't know. Well, then today... Nope. Have you seen my bank? And right then, the wall of the shop just gets ripped off by the bank that is rolling by. And he's like, oh, found it. He starts running. But, you know, every time he runs, he does that thing where he, like, leans backward really far before he starts to move.
Yeah.
Because he's drunk. So now he and Karina are running together, and he's like, who the hell are you? And she's like, I'm not looking for any trouble. And he's like, what a horrible way to live. They get up on top of this roof, and she's like, what do we do now? And he's like, if I were you, I would scream. And then he just pushes her off. And she lands in like a hay wagon, which then gets driven away. And then shot at by all the guards, who are led by the lieutenant, who's played by that dude. Have any of you watched Iron Fist? Okay, in Lord of the Rings, remember Boromir?
Mm-hmm.
Sean Bean?
Yeah.
His brother.
Oh, that guy.
Okay.
Anybody? Yeah.
Oh, the lieutenant from 300.
Yeah.
The narrator.
The narrator. I have no eye, so I had to go back. My king.
An army of 10,000 Spartans.
They face obliteration.
Maybe I should learn his name. Anyway, as she's falling off of the roof, she's like, you filthy pirate. And he's like, no need for name calling. So then he jumps onto the bank as it is rolling by. Okay, and he's just riding on top of it. And Sideburns down there is like, he like looks back and sees him like, oh, okay, we got Jack. And they're going, and now they are heading for a bridge. And everybody's going to be fucked. So as they go through underneath the bridge, the bank just crashes into it and is destroyed. And Jack Sparrow just like jumps up and walks across the bridge, jumps off the other side, and then lands on the now free safe that is being dragged. So there's no more building around it. It's all done in slow motion. It's very impressive. So then they get away, all right? And they get the safe back to their ship. They open it up, and there is 1 coin in it. Jack Sparrow is the first to see it and just takes it for himself. And now all the other guys that have helped him, they're all like, dude, you suck. And he's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you have lost all of your luck. Okay? You are an unlucky pirate, and that is bullshit. No one should ever follow an unlucky pirate. So, first you lost your luck, now you lost your ship, and he goes, no, I haven't lost my ship, it's right here. And inside of his jacket pocket, he has the Black Pearl in a bottle, if you'll remember from On Stranger Tides. Mm-hmm. That was Blackbeard's whole thing. He would defeat ships, and then he would shrink them down and put them in bottles, and he had in his office, I don't know, the big display of them. So Jack carries it in his coat, and they're like, now you're going to lose your crew. And they all leave him, even Sideburns. And he's like, yeah, Jack, I'm sorry. It looks like this is where we part ways, Jack. So they're all leaving, and he's like, fine, you're all dismissed. That's fine. Now we cut to Henry, and he is in chains on a bed. I don't know why. Yeah, I guess he washed up because he escaped Salazar let him live.
Okay.
Anyway, Captain of the Guard is like, I see your sleeves are ripped, which is a sign of treason. So now you will die because of that. So they leave, and then Karina, who is now masquerading as a nun in the hospital for some reason, walks up to him, and she's like, hey, check it out. I heard you talking, because he was like, no, I need to find, the trident. But he just sounds like a crazy guy. She's like, I'm looking for the trident, okay? It's what I'm trying to find. I have a book here that was given to me by my father, and it's all about Poseidon's trident. And I need to find that, because it's, it was his last thing to me. I was a baby, and he left it with me on an orphanage. And he's like, oh, man, yeah, okay. I'm trying to save my father, so looks like we're in this together. She's like, yeah, find a ship, and I can find us the trident. Because to find the trident, you have to follow a map that no man can read. And he said that to her, and she was like, I am no man. I go, oh, there you go. Anyway, her being an astronomer, she's like, the map is actually in the stars. Okay? Which is weird. But, give yourself to it. It's fine. She's like, in 2 days or whatever, there's a blood moon, and that is when I can read something on this book that will tell me where to go to find the map. All right? So find us a ship. And he's like, yeah, totally. So then he escapes, and all the guards are like, find the coward! Now we see Jack Sparrow, and he is just like wandering through the streets in the rain, because now his life sucks. And then he falls straight into a big mud puddle, and he is like totally covered in mud. He walks into this tavern, and he sees a bunch of wanted posters of him, and he gets all like, oh shit. But he's covered in mud, so it's all fine. And he just walks up to the bartender, and he's like, how about a drink? The guy's like, let me see your silver. And he's got none. So he's like, you know what? Fuck it. And he pulls out his compass, his magic compass. Remember that? Like the key to the whole first 3 movies? And he puts it on the bar, and he trades that shit for a bottle of rum. At the very last second before the bartender takes it, he has a second thought, goes to grab it, but the bartender gets it. And he throws it into his bowl of other shit that people trade for rum, And right then, we cut to Captain Salazar and all of his men, who are trapped in the Devil's Triangle. Remember, it's all foggy and rocky and craggy, Like, that's how that Navy frigate even found them, is they went into the Devil's Triangle. They followed a pirate ship into it.
Yeah.
And now, it starts to quake. And they're, like, looking around, like, what the hell? And then all of these rocks that are around them just start crumbling, and there's daylight behind them. and all of his crew just like starts rejoicing. And Salazar like puts his face up to the light and he's like, yeah, sunlight. And they're like, Captain, what's going on? What's going on? And he's like, Jasparo, he has finally given away the compass. We are free! And they are all pretty fucking happy. And they just sail right out of that shit. And he's like, now let's hunt the pirate. Then Jack gets recognized and is captured, and he's going to be executed at dawn with that witch bitch that they caught, Karina. So now we cut to some random pirate ship out on the seas. And there's this ugly asshole just walking around. And now a seagull lands in front of him, only it is a dead-ass zombie seagull. All right, and he's like, what the hell? He looks around to like see his buddies, he looks back, and it's gone. And he's like, oh, it's fine. Then he turns around, and there is a giant fucking monster pirate ship coming at his ship. And then the ship just like opens up its big-ass jaws. They're all like made out of wood. And just chomps down on this pirate ship. And kills it. And eats it dead. Okay, so Karina is in her cell, waiting to be executed the next morning, when the blood moon happens. Okay? And everything just turns red. And the little ruby that is stuck to the front of her book starts to glow. So then she holds that ruby next to the book, and she can see words that she couldn't see before. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you follow the stars, you know, these 5 stars in this certain constellation, it'll lead you to this island. So now she knows she has to get to this island that is not on any maps. And on that island, she'll be able to find the new star map that will show her where the trident is. Mm-hmm. Okay? Henry finally finds Jack Sparrow in his cell, who is also not wearing any pants for some reason. They make a joke about that, and he's like, yeah, I'm the son of Will Turner and Elizabeth, whatever. And he's like, good God. Ew. Hey, does she ever ask about me? And he's like, no. Yeah, okay, whatever. He's like, yeah, I need to find the Trident of Poseidon so that I can break his curse. And there's this girl over here that she can find it. So if you got a ship, then we can all go together, find the Trident, and also you won't get killed by Captain Salazar, who is now on his way to you. And he's like, who the hell is that? I seem to remember some Spanish man with the name of something in Spanish. But he's dead. His ship went down. And then the kid's like, yeah, in the Devil's Triangle. So now he's cursed, man. So to be honest, only the Trident can save you now. And he's like, oh, great. And the kid's like, yeah, your compass, I guess you don't have it anymore. That was the key to their freedom. So now we cut to this other pirate ship that's all like covered in gold, and it's all beautiful and awesome, and he's got all these servants, whoever this captain is. We get inside and we see that it is Barbossa. And he is like super rich now, because now he controls all of these pirate ships.
Yeah.
And they all, they all pay him. And his 2 little, lackeys, who are supposed to replace the 2 bumbling pirates from the original trilogy, but do not do a good job.
The other 2 aren't in it?
No. They're like, hey, your ships are being attacked by this guy named Captain Salazar. And Barbossa's like, the fuck are you talking about? And like, yeah, well, we know this because he always leaves one person alive, to tell the tale. And anyway, we're all going to die. So Barbossa gets freaked out, and he goes into this other prison, and he walks up to the guard, he bribes him, and he's like, I need to see the witch. And I was like, witch? Like that girl? It turns out it's a real witch. And this girl is bald. She's covered in, like, red henna. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, the dead are now conquering the sea, and they are unable to set foot on dry land. So if I were you, Captain, I'd move to the country. And he was like, what, like on a farm making cheese? No, I'm a pirate. So she says, well, I got an idea. Maybe if you lead Salazar to Jack Sparrow, he'll spare you. Because that's what he wants. And he's like, okay. And she's like, here, take this compass. And it's the fucking magic compass. Somehow the witch has it now. And he's like, where you be getting that? She's like, I have my ways. So he takes it and he's like, time to make a deal with the dead. So now the lieutenant is dragging Jack Sparrow to his execution. And on the way, Jack Sparrow runs into his uncle. I don't know who plays him. And it's just another, hey, they're related because they're kind of the same thing. But what was funny about it is his uncle told that joke that you tell about a skeleton walking into a bar, ordering a beer and a mop.
Yeah?
And when he tells that joke, Jack Sparrow does not laugh, and none of the guards laugh. But way off, distant in the prison, you hear this one dude. So now they get outside. It's execution day, and all the town is gathered around to watch, including the gyro captain and his slut wife. They ask Jack, how do you want to die? You want to hang? Or do you want to do this new thing we got, which is called a guillotine? And he's like, oh, it's French. Can't be that bad. So he chooses the guillotine. So Karina is going to hang for witchcraft, and he's going to be beheaded for piracy. And they are like right across from each other on these big stands. Mm-hmm. Karina she tries to like say her last words to the crowd where she's going to like tell her story that she's not a witch and she's trying to do something for her dad. And then Jack Sparrow uses his last words to tell her to shut up. And they start fighting and arguing. And the whole town, including all the guards, are just like, it's like watching a tennis match. All their heads just keep moving from side to side.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you know what? It's fine. All right, just let him talk. I'll just hang. I don't care. And he's like, you know, on occasion, the neck doesn't break. It just hurts. Right then, Henry, like, swings down into the crowd, and he's gonna try to free them. He's by himself. It's like a 19-year-old kid, and he immediately gets captured. And the captain of the guard, lieutenant, is like, did you really think you were going to defeat us? And he's like, no, sir, I am a diversion. And they're all like, wait, what? And he just yells, fire! And then Sideburns and Mini-Me and the rest of the guys, they start shooting shit with a cannon. And they aim it right at the guillotine. And they end up hitting the wood that is supporting it, but only on one side. So the guillotine now collapses and starts swinging like a pendulum.
Yeah.
Okay? The blade is loose. So as Jack Sparrow is like spinning around on this thing, the blade keeps coming really close to him and then flying back away because it's turning in a big circle.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to describe that accurately.
It's just another stunt like him running on a big wheel.
Yes. Anyway, it's actually pretty hilarious. So now the pirate... What?
Uncle Jack is fucking Paul McCartney.
There you go.
Okay.
Did not recognize him. So they have this big battle, and one of the pirates ends up going and saving the girl, who is still in the noose, okay? And there's a guard that comes up to fight him. And this pirate is being careful to not hit the switch that will hang her. And he even looks at the guard, and he's like, dude, be careful. And they're like sword fighting and stuff. And then the guard like starts trying to push the switch. And the pirate actually goes like, what are you doing, man? No. And he finally kills him or gets rid of him. And the girl's like, yeah, thanks. He's like, yeah, totally. And then he accidentally hits the switch. So now she drops and she's going to hang. And Henry catches her before she reaches the end of the rope. And that's the moment from the preview where he's like, do we have an accord? You know, my left hand? She's like, well, your left hand is. I think we're more than friends. Partners? I don't fucking know. Anyway, they all escape, and they are out on Jack's ship, which I forgot to mention last time, is in dry dock. It's also really super tiny. And it has a name. The Dying Gull. It's like a joke of a ship. And they're like, it's time to launch. Do it. So they cut all the ropes and stuff, and all the supports start to fall, and it starts sliding down the slide, down into the water. And then it gets caught on a rope, and they're like, oh, something's... and then the rope breaks, and then they launch. And everything's fine.
Into the boat.
So now they're like, hey, it floats. All right, let's go. So now we cut to Barbossa, and he is in his big red gold pirate ship, which might have been Blackbeard's ship for all I know. I think it was. Anyway, he's actually sailing out towards Salazar's monster ship. Mm-hmm. Monster ship like rears up like it's gonna bite his ship and kill it, and then Barbossa just yells out as its mouth is open, "Capitan Salazar, I hear you be looking for Jack Sparrow." And then it stops. So then they get boarded, and Salazar is walking up to him, and he is so damn cool looking when he's like stalking up to things. And he's like, "What do you know of Jack Sparrow?" And Barbossa's like, "Well, I just wanted to have a nice cordial conversation and maybe help you try to find him, okay?" And Salazar is like, "Cordiality. You a pirate, you. Pirate cordiality. Let me show you my cordial intent." And then he tells him that every time he taps his sword on the deck, one of Barbossa's men will be killed. And then he immediately taps it once, and you see a guy get stabbed behind him. He's like, "So you better talk fast. Where is Jack Sparrow?" But he's on his way to go and get the Trident of Poseidon, so he can break his curse, and or break your curse, I don't fucking know, and you can't get him. And he's like, "No treasure can save him." Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to use this compass to find him for you, and I promise I will find him by dawn. And if not, you can kill me. And then Salazar is like, okay, you have a deal. And then he taps his sword on his boat like a whole bunch of times. And then all of Barbossa's crew like gets killed except for 5. And he's like, "The living get on board, let's go." Now on the Dying Gull, Jack Sparrow is like, "Show me the map." She's like, "No, it's the map that no man can read. It's actually in the stars." He's like, No, bullshit. Show me the map or I will kill him. And he points at Henry. She's like, "You're bluffing." And he's like, "And you're blushing. Throw him over." And they're going to keel haul him. You know what that is?
Nope.
That's where they'll throw a dude over the side of the ship with a rope, and they'll drag him under it and back up the other side. So he gets all torn to shreds by all the barnacles on the bottom. And they just throw him over. So she freaks out. That's when she tells him, it's in the sky and stuff, and we need to find this island. And she's like, "Now pull him up. And he's like, "I don't know, he's probably dead. We can't really pull him up. Go see for yourself." She goes and looks over, and he is down in a rowboat.
Into the boat.
So now the lieutenant goes to see that real witch, the bald girl, and grabs her and puts her in Karina's cell, where Karina was drawing shit on the walls as to where she's going. Mm-hmm. And he makes her read it to him and decipher it so he can follow them. So it's nighttime, and on Jack's ship, Henry is mad at Jack for, letting his dad get cursed or some shit. So then we cut to Salazar's ship, and the sun is coming up. So Salazar is like, "That's it, now you're gonna die." And Barbossa's like, "Hang on a minute, this isn't sunrise, this is just first light, okay? That is not the light of a fully risen sun, okay? Just give me a minute." And then Captain Salazar is like, "You don't know me." And he's like, "Oh, I've heard tell of a very brave Spanish captain who hunted down and killed thousands of men." And then Salazar gets up in his face and he's like, No. Not men. Pirates. So then we see his flashback of a very much alive, handsome Javier Bardem in his white uniform on his awesome Spanish ship, in full regalia, and they are hunting pirates. Because I guess his dad was killed by a pirate, so he then dedicated his life to hunting them down and killing them.
Oh, okay.
And he was almost done. He was on the trail of the last 10 pirate ships ever. And his ship was so badass that it was just making quick work of all of them. He's killing them, sinking all these ships, and there's one left.
Yeah.
And it's heading for this place called the Devil's Triangle. So they're shooting cannons at each other and shit, and the captain of the pirate ship he's chasing ends up getting wounded, like, really bad. And he's about to die, and he's like, Jack, come here. Jack, come here. And then this fucking kid walks up to him, and it's like a super young computerized Jack Sparrow face. But it looked great, all right? He gets up there, and the captain's like, it's up to you now, Jack. You got to take this guy out. Do this. All right, so it is Jack Sparrow, but he's just wearing like a bandana around his head, and then nothing else.
Yeah.
He's just like a deckhand. And this dying captain hands Jack the compass. And he's like, it will point to whatever you want most. Do not ever betray it. So then Jack looks at it, and it points to the Devil's Triangle. So they head for it, and just before they are about to go through this big stone gate, Jack yells out to the rest of the crew to like throw a bootleg over or something like that, and they like lasso one of the rocks. So just as they're about to go through the gate, the rope tightens and they make a hard left. Okay? And at that point, Salazar's ship has no choice but to go through the gate now. And now they're like passing each other, and they're really super close. And as they are passing each other, Salazar is like, he's all pissed off, and he looks over at Jack, and Jack is just like walking like, fuck you, man. And he's like swinging his compass around. Like, I got this. And at some point, Jack was up in the crow's nest, and he was like calling out to Salazar, and he was like, if you surrender now, I'll let you live. And Salazar was like, he was up there in the crow's nest like a little bird. Like a little bird. And that day is the when he got his name. Sparrow. So they end up sailing into the Devil's Triangle and then getting caught there because there's like all this fire like under the water or something like that, and it it blew their ship up. So that's why they're all fucked up looking, because they all died in like an explosion, but then they were frozen in time. So then they go down, and Jack Sparrow saved the fucking day. So they're sailing away, and the rest of this crew is looking at this little kid. And they're all just staring at him. And he's looking at them. And then this one guy walks up, and he lays down like a sword in front of him. And young Jack just goes like, oh, what's this? And this guy says, a tribute, sir. And he's like, oh, okay. And then all the other crew members walk up, and they give him something. And they are all the pieces of Jack Sparrow's costume. Like all the shit that's hanging from his hair and stuff. And then one of them gives him his hat. Another one gives him his coat. All that shit he got when he became captain for the very first time.
Oh, wow.
So that constructed his look. So we cut back to Salazar, and he's like, he took everything from me. And he filled me with rage. But unfortunately, the tale ends here. Now you are going to die. And Barbossa's like, aye, there he is. And right there on the horizon, yep, is the dying gull. Found as promised. Cuts out to the dying gull, and they're talking to Karina, who's saying that she's like an astronomer, and she's going to find, they're heading with this watch that she has, and they're like, yeah, you're going to find the map with a watch. How the hell are you going to do that? Well, actually, I'm also a horologist. And then everybody's like, what? And Jack Sparrow's like, oh, that's fine. It's fine. Everyone needs to make a living. It's fine. And one of the guys is like, yeah, my mother was a horologist. So then Sideburns is like, there's a fucking ship coming. And they're all like, what does he want? What does he want? Well, he wants Jack Sparrow. So you know what? Let's kill Jack. And then they're like, no, man. If you kill Jack and you don't let Salazar kill him, he'll just keep ruling the seas and killing everybody. So, and then they're like, well, then what do we do? And then Jack is like, as your captain, might I suggest? And then it cuts to him, Karina, and Henry in a fucking rowboat.
Into the boat!
And she's like, mutiny? As captain, you suggested mutiny? He's like, well, you didn't have any better ideas, you know? So now they're going towards this island that she found. And then, like, the coolest fucking part of the movie happens. And Salazar, he just yells out to his crew, drop them! And his crew goes down into the cargo hold of their own ship, which is full of dead hanging sharks. And they're just dead and rotting.
Yeah.
And they grab them off of these hooks, and they take them, and they just throw them overboard. And as soon as they hit the water, they come to life. It's fucking cool, man. And they are, like, vicious as fuck. There's, like, 4 of them. So they just start swimming off towards this little rowboat. And Salazar sees him go off, and he's like, killed the sparrow. So then there's another moment from the preview where they don't know the sharks are coming yet, and the girl is like, you know what, screw this, I'm swimming. So she starts to take off her clothes, and Henry is like, oh no, don't swim, you can't do that. And Jack is like, shut up. He wants to see her get naked. She ends up jumping in her underwear, which is like, full pajamas. And Henry is like, I saw her ankles. And Jack is like, you would have seen a lot more if you'd kept your cake hole shut. And then Henry's like, you know what? I'm going with her. I'm going to swim with her. And Jack just goes, you would leave me for some horologist in her knickers? And Henry goes, yes. And Jack says, you men are all alike. And then the fucking sharks attack. And it's fucking crazy. And they're like biting up the boat, and it's kind of sinking. And it is pretty serious shit. At that point, Sal and his men, fuck it, they just jump onto the water because they don't sink. They just run right across it. Yeah. So now there's like this army of undead pirates just like running at them, but they're still pretty far away. Jack looks over and sees it, and he just goes, how do they do that? So the boy is like, all right, we're going to have to swim for it. I'm going to distract them with the dress. So get ready, Jack. And he's like, yeah, okay. So the kid throws the dress into the water, and all the sharks go to attack it. And then Henry's like, now! And he jumps into the water, and Jack, like, doesn't. I think he got his foot caught or something on some, like, grappling hook with a rope on it, right? Yeah. So now that it's too late, one of the sharks bites the back of the rowboat and is about to get Jack. And he ends up, like, hitting it with the grappling hook that he found. Mm-hmm. And then it swims away, and it is now on a leash. The pirates, by the way, are now almost to him. And Salazar has pulled his sword. He is going to get him. He's running up to him. He raises his sword. He is about to cut his fucking head off when Jack finally cinches the rope tight and the shark drags him away from them. Now the shark is racing towards the shore. And Henry is in the middle. So the shark is going to eat him. And Jack, like, yanks on the rope and kind of steers the shark a little bit, and then he pulls Henry back up into the boat. Once the shark is about to hit the land, it makes a sharp right turn, so they just fly out of the boat and then land on the beach. Then all of the pirates make it to shore, and they're just standing on the wet sand because they can't stand on the dry. One of them actually does, and he just burns away into dust.
Oh, wow.
So Jack is like, ha ha! Can't stand on dry land, yeah. And Salazar is just fucking looking at Jack Sparrow, and he has the biggest smile on his face. He is so fucking happy to have finally found him. And Jack is like, all right, let's go find whatever we need to find here. And Salazar just goes, I'll be waiting for you. I will be waiting for you, Jack Sparrow. I'll be waiting for you right here. So then the 3 of them go inland, and it turns out that other people already live on the island, and they get captured in nets. Now it cuts back to Salazar on his ship, and he has Barbossa and the rest of his men strung up, and he starts cutting their throats. He's about to get to Barbossa, and Barbossa's like, no. Okay, on my honor, I will find him for you. Now, why are you killing us anyway? He's like, you promised me that I could kill Jack Sparrow by dawn. You promised me he would be dead. And he's like, that's not really my fault. But you know what? If you let me and my guys go, I'll find him for you. On my honor. And he's like, honor? This is one of the cool things about Salazar, or Javier Bardem in this movie. He's like, what honor, hombre? Like he still kind of speaks Spanish a little bit. Yeah. And he's like, fine, okay. And he lets him go. So now we cut to a big fucking whale skeleton on the beach of this island. Inside of it are all of the inhabitants, which are all like really nasty, incest-bred people.
Yeah.
But they're like white people. They're not like, Aborigines or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
Like they've obviously been marooned there.
Okay.
For a long time. Jack Sparrow knows one of them. They used to be friends. And this guy is like, oh yeah, you owe me so much money, but don't worry. You can repay me today. There's my sister. She was just widowed, and you're going to marry her. And they actually have a priest with them. So they start the ceremony right there. And the woman is horrendously ugly. And she's got like sores all over her face. And it's really disgusting.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like super fat and like really mean looking. And then all of these equally weird looking kids like gather around her. And Sparrow's like, who are they? And she just looks at him and goes, they're our children. And he's like, God, no. So the priest is like, do you take this woman? And he's like, no. And then his friend is going to kill him, he's threatening him. And then Barbossa interrupts the whole thing. Kills the friend. And, everybody else just runs. So he saves him. Jack, having not seen Barbossa this whole time, is just like, oh, look at you. You look really good. You have a spring in your step. Did your leg roll back? And he's like, no. And all of his men are like, are we going to take him back to Salazar now? And he's like, no, we're not. I'm here for the Trident of Poseidon. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's cool, but how the hell are we going to get out of here? No one can outrun Salazar's ship. And then Barbossa's like, oh, but one ship is fast enough to outrun any other ship. And then he just like pulls out his sword and pokes Jack in the jacket with it. Yeah. And he's like, by Blackbeard's magic, the Black Pearl is in this little bottle in his fucking jacket, right? And this is Blackbeard's sword. So by his magic, I now release the Black Pearl. And then he pushes the sword in further and it cracks the glass. And then the ship starts growing. And it starts growing and everybody's like, holy shit. And then the camera pans back because it has stopped growing. Camera pans back and it's only a little bit bigger. And it has stopped. And Jack is like, well, that's disappointing. And then Barbossa grabs it and he just throws it into the ocean. And he's like, it needs the sea. And then it just sinks. But then up out of the water, really big, comes the Black Pearl. And it's all better now.
Into the boat!
Okay, so now, remember Jack's other crew that mutinied on him?
Yeah.
Now the lieutenant has tracked them down. And is about to board them. So Sideburns, who is wearing a captain's hat, looks at this other stupid pirate and he's like, hey, I was talking to Jack. Okay, and he said that if anything ever happened to him, he wanted you to be captain. And he's like, what? No, like you got the hat. Like, no, it's okay. We can switch hats. So here, take the captain's hat. And then they get boarded and taken prisoner by the lieutenant and his men, who then have the new captain tied up, and the lieutenant's like, I am going to beat the shit out of your captain until you guys tell me where Jack Sparrow went. So that's why he switched hats with him. They're all thrown in the brig, and they end up picking the lock with this long, disgusting toenail from that captain pirate. Mm-hmm. So now they're out in a rowboat, and they're heading for the Black Pearl that they can now see. And, Sideburns is like, the Pearl sails again! So now the lieutenant, he starts chasing the Black Pearl with his ship. On the Pearl, Barbossa is looking at Karina and her book. And he's like, I've seen that book before. Where you be getting it? And she's like, my father gave it to me. And he's like, yeah, he's a fucking thief. Okay, he stole it. because I used to know the guy that had that book. She's like, this is my legacy. This is all I have to who I am. He's like, yeah, that's, well, then your father's he's just a common thief. So what be your name? And she's like, I'm named for the brightest star in the north. And then Barbossa goes, aye, that be Karina. She's like, oh, you know your stars. And he says, I'm a captain. And then he's kind of looking at her funny. And he walks away from her. And he pulls out the compass, opens it up, and the needle points right at her. Now, Jack Sparrow, who Barbossa has tied up, he's like, yeah, so that's your daughter, isn't it? You know, her name's Karina Smith. Didn't we know a Smith? What happened? What was her name? Margaret? And he's like, yeah, Margaret died. I loved her. And I tried to do the right thing. I put her on the steps of an orphanage, and I left her with that book, okay? And I thought the book, having the ruby attached to it, would afford her some, some comfort in life. I did not think that she would take the actual writing in the book so seriously and then start a fucking life quest over it. So Jack is like, I am going to tell her who you are. And he's like, no. You can't do that. What do you want? And Jack is like, well, first of all, I want my compass back. I want 216 barrels of rum. And then, remember the monkey? He's always riding on Barbossa's shoulder.
Yeah.
He's like, monkey. I want the monkey. And he's like, you want little Jack? He's like, yeah. I want to eat him. I want to have him for dinner tonight. Then they start getting attacked by the lieutenant's ship. And you see the lieutenant, and he's just like, only the British Empire are going to have the power of the seas. And right then, Salazar's monster ship chomps his ship, and it's dead. So goodbye, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
So now Salazar and all of his men board the Pearl. And they're running around, taking people prisoner and stuff. And Salazar's just walking around going like, Jasparo! Jasparo! Where are you? He's like, I've come for you, Jasparo. And then Jack just swings by on a rope and swings over the side of the ship, which is parked right next to Salazar's ship. So they're really close together, and all of their cannons are sticking out. Mm-hmm. Jack swings down onto one of the cannons, and he starts running away on top of the cannons. Like from side to side, jumping on the cannons for each ship. It's fucking actually pretty cool. Salazar follows him, and this is one of those big moments where it's like dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun-dun. They're playing all that cool pirate music.
Yeah.
So they're both running on top of all of these cannons, and it is so damn cool. Jack, who is in the front and nearly at the front of the ships, looks up, and now the titty statue on the front of Salazar's ship comes to life.
Oh, wow.
And it turns around and raises a spear. It actually gets up off of where it is, and it's like walking around. This big, giant, rotted, wooden tits lady. So she's trying to spear Jack, and he's like, ooh! He's like running away from it. And then one of Salazar's guys is inside of his ship loading up a cannon. And it's right in front of Jack Sparrow. And he pushes the cannon really far forward, which then pins Jack's face between the cannon and his own ship. So he is now screwed. He looks up. There's the tit statue right above him. And he yanks on some rope. The cannon points directly upward and then fires and blows away the titty statue. So then Jack gets driven inside one of the ships, and he is followed by Salazar, and now they get into a fucking sword fight.
Fuck yeah!
At that point, Karina, who is steering the Black Pearl, finally finds that secret island that they're looking for that's going to have the star map on it. So she just runs the Pearl aground. Now remember, Salazar's ship is running tandem with it. So it's about to run aground, so they are all about to die. Salazar freaks out, and he just starts trying to get the hell away from the shore. So he like runs backwards, jumps onto the back of his ship. All the dudes that are on the front of his ship disappear into dust. So they finally turn their ship around, and it, floats away. Mm-hmm. So then all the good pirates, they're like walking around this island, and it's all dark or whatever. And they're like, well, where is it? What's going on? What's so special about this? As soon as the sun rises over the ridge, there's like billions of crystals in all of the rocks, and they all start glittering and glowing. And it turns out that it is an exact mirror replica of the stars above it. Ah. So she could see that one constellation she was looking for, and those are all glowing red, except one of them is not glowing. She walks up to it, and she's like, it's not glowing. Why? Why is this one not glowing? Barbossa's right behind her, and he pulls out the little chunk of ruby that was originally stuck to the book, and he's like, here, finish it. She takes it, and she says, for my father. And Barbossa's like looking at her, and he goes, aye, do it for him. So then she sticks it onto the crystal, and it starts glowing red. And then, boom, all this shit starts happening, and we see deep down under the sea, fucking Poseidon's trident. And it like wakes up and starts glowing. And then the sea just splits in two. And there's just like a long canyon of like ocean floor with water walls. Okay? Mm-hmm. Jack and Karina fall down into it. And it's a pretty long drop. But, I guess they're okay. And they're walking around and there's like coral all around them. It's pretty weird looking. And then they walk up and they find the trident, which does not look like your common conception of a trident. Mm-hmm. It like looks like it's all like uneven and weird looking.
Yeah.
And at that point, Salazar, who had captured Henry, okay, he's got him on his monster ship, and he fucking possesses him. And all of his crew is like, hey, wait, man, before you do that, just remember, you are going to be stuck in his body forever. Okay, you can't come back out. And he just goes like, the trident will heal me. And he just turns into dust and like flies into his face.
Yeah.
And then there's Henry, little Henry. And his face is like kind of cracked a little bit, like Salazar's. So he goes down there and he fucking starts fighting Jack Sparrow, who is like very confused. Okay, because it's Henry, right? But he's like talking like this. And, he starts fighting him and he kind of cuts him. And then Salazar is like, if you cut me, you cut the boy. And then he goes over and he picks up the fucking trident. Right when he picks it up, it does indeed heal him. And Henry is like thrown away to the side. Yeah. And it's just like Ghost Salazar holding the trident. And he starts to feel the power of the trident. And he's like swinging it around. And it will move the ocean water. Okay? He can control it. So then he goes like, I hate the spottle. I hate the spottle. And he starts like swinging this water bubble around. And it captures Jack inside of it. Yeah. And then he's like throwing it from side to side. And he's just like beating the hell out of Jack Sparrow with it. And Jack is like getting tossed around and he's like crawling and he's like, if you surrender to me now, I'll let you live. At that point, Karina and Henry realize that on the book, it said like, yeah, if you want the power of the sea, you must divide or something like that. And they end up figuring out that to break all of the sea curses, like what they're trying to do, they have to break the trident. They have to destroy it. So then Henry runs up and chops that shit in half right in Salazar's hands. Mm-hmm. Who then turns back into nice, alive, human Captain Salazar. Oh. And it's like, that's all he ever needed.
Yeah.
Yeah? And so he's like, he's all handsome and nice looking. And he's like, oh, holy shit. Like, I didn't know this. And all of his buddies, who were like standing inside of the water walls, watching everything go down, all of a sudden they can't breathe because they are underwater. So they like start panicking and stuff. Anyway, they come and they get out of it and they're all like celebrating. They're like, hooray, hooray. So in addition to it breaking their curse, it has broken every curse at sea. So we know somewhere Davy Bloom is like waking up okay, right?
Yeah.
And now the fucking walls start closing in together. And they are like a mile down.
Yeah.
So they just start running. Because, it's closing in a way where they can run away from it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to make it. All of a sudden, Barbossa is like, hanging from the anchor of the Black Pearl, and they've lowered it down to save him. He's also like taking off his hat and his coat, so he's kind of naked and weird looking. And he picks up Jack, Henry, and Karina, and they just start climbing the chain. And then handsome Javier is like, running! He's running! He sees the anchor, and he's like, oh, no. I am getting on that. So he jumps onto it, and he starts climbing up it. Some of his guys make it onto it, but they kind of get bashed around, and all of them just fucking die. Because I was like, well, you're all friends now. Everything's fine.
He still wants to kill him?
He just wants to save his own ass, and he's like climbing up the chain for now.
Yeah.
So then we see the Black Pearl, and it is sailing on the edge of that wall. Like right on this fucking water cliff.
Yeah.
Like right so close to the edge, it was like really fucking scary. And on the ship is his men like trying to raise the anchor. And it's pretty hard because now it's like, well, it's pretty heavy anyway. Now it's full of people too.
Yeah.
Like they kind of lose it a little bit, and it like goes lower. then they get it. And then Karina actually falls. And Barbossa fucking grabs her. And he's holding on to her. And because he's now in his skivvies, she can see a tattoo on the inside of his arm. And it is the 5-star constellation. Mm-hmm. And she looks at it. She looks up at him. And they're having this tender moment in the middle of this fucking typhoon of water. And she's looking at it. And she just says, who am I to you? And then he goes, treasure. You're my treasure. And she starts to cry and stuff. And he gets her back onto the chain. And then Salazar is coming up the chain. Jack Sparrow looks down. And I still think there's no real way to know if Salazar was coming to kill them. He was probably like, it's fine. I'm just trying to escape with you guys. But Jack Sparrow just goes, hey, Barbossa. And he pulls out Henry's sword and throws it to Barbossa, who then, like, takes one last look at his daughter. And he's like, I love you. And he fucking jumps and starts falling down the chain. And as he passes Salazar, drives the sword right into his chest and pulls him off the chain with him. So now they both fall down to their deaths. Mm-hmm. And Salazar hits the fucking anchor on the way down. And just goes like, bong! And starts flipping. And it's like, really unnecessary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to save him.
Nope. So after he starts flipping around, then we get a shot of Barbossa who's like, falling nice and slowly and looking up at his daughter. And she's looking at him and they're crying. And he like looks at peace. And then he falls down to his unnecessary death. And Barbossa is fucking gone, you guys.
For real.
Yeah, man. Down to the locker.
So Jack Sparrow was like, Barbossa, sacrifice yourself.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Sacrifice yourself to save me. So now they're saved and they're up on the deck. And Henry's looking at Karina and she's all crying. And she's like, I feel like for a moment I had everything that I ever wanted. And now it's all just gone. And he's like, it's not all gone, Miss Smith. She looks at him and she's like, my name is Barbossa. My name is Horace. So now they're back on Henry's home island. And he's like, he's really excited. And he goes, he's taking his new girlfriend, okay? And he takes her out.
Karina?
Yeah.
Okay.
As someone totally knew. So he's looking at Karina, and he goes in to kiss her, and then she just fucking slaps him. Huh. And he's like, why'd you do that? She's like, I just wanted to make sure you're the real you and not a fucking ghost. And then they kiss, and it's all like, yay! And then he looks down, and there's nothing. No Dutchman, no nothing. Up, but then it comes up out of the water. And it's all like shiny and new, and it's got like nice white sails, and it's all fucking awesome. And then brand shiny new Orlando Bloom starts walking up the hill.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
And they run up and they're hugging, and he's like, "Oh, look at you, son. Oh, you know what? How did you do it? How did you break the curse?"
He could breathe underwater for some
I don't
reason.
fucking know, man.
On his way up miles of ocean.
You just gotta give into it. It's fine.
Did he pick up Jeffrey Rush on the way?
So far as we know, no. Anyway, he's like, "How did you do it? How did you break the curse?" And Henry says, "Now that is a tale of the greatest treasure known to man." Well, that's a tale I want to hear. And then right then, dun, 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 we look off up to the distance, and over the ridge walks Keira Knightley, Elizabeth Swann. And she shows up, and the music gets all crazy and awesome, and gotta admit, man, it's a goosebump moment. So then they run up to each other, and they start kissing. And now we see them kissing, but through a spyglass. And on the other end of the spyglass is Jack Sparrow, out on the Black Pearl. And he just looks at that, and he just goes, "What a truly revolting sight." So then he puts the spyglass down, he walks away, and then Sideburns is like, "All hail Captain Sparrow, yay, he's back on the Pearl, it's all great." And everybody's like, "Yeah, yeah," and they're all bowing to him and stuff. And then the monkey, who is now all alone, like, jumps up to him and fucking hands him the compass. And he's like, "Yes, thank you." And Jack Sparrow and the monkey have like a tender moment. So then Sideburns is like, "Where to, Captain?" "Well, we should follow the stars. I have a rendezvous beyond my beloved horizon." And then the credits roll, baby.
All right.
Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. So then everybody in the theater gets up to leave. I check mediastinger.com, and there is indeed a stinger.
Oh, wow.
So I sat there and waited, and these are long-ass credits on these pirate movies.
Ugh, man.
Everybody comes in and start cleaning the theater, and I'm like, I'm not leaving. So all the way after the credits, we got the stinger, and there's a storm happening. It's raining outside, and we are in somebody's bedroom, and it turns out that it is Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley's bedroom. They have just had sex and are now fast asleep. And then the bedroom door opens, and it's creaking, and we see a shadow on the ground, and it's some dude in a big old captain's hat. And then we see Tentacle Beard. And footsteps start coming into the room. Dunk, dunk, dunk. And then all of a sudden, Orlando Bloom wakes up, and then there's a big giant lobster claw in the air. And then Orlando wakes up again, and it's gone. It's like a fucking nightmare that he was having. And he's like, "Oh, it's fine. I'll just go back to sleep." So then he lays back down, and then the camera pans down, and on the floor is a whole bunch of water and some barnacles. So he's back. Maybe.
Bill Nighy. Am I saying it right?
I think it's just Bill Nye.
It's Bill Nighy.
Bill Nye is a science guy.
I know Bill Nye, the science guy, but I always thought they were both pronounced the same way. Okay, Nye's fine.
Yeah.
Davy Jones.
Oh yeah, Davy Jones, baby. So there you have it, folks. Dead Men Tell No Tales on Movies with Ron. Rick, what'd you think?
Thought it was pretty good.
It was an adventure.
They didn't need to kill Barbossa.
I know, right?
Or Javier.
Javier really could have been an asset to the crew.
Yeah.
He knew how to get things done.
Just bottle.
Just bottle.
Hey, everybody.
Yes?
If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review.
We're also on Twitter and Instagram. You can drop us a line there. Also have a movieswithron.com.
All right. It's been fun.
Yep. Love you guys.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Movies with Ron.